Hi Dad, as you can see, I'm out here chopping and stacking wood. I'm filling the new wood sheds I built from free pallets. This video isn't a how-to though. It's a letter for you. This work got me thinking. You know better than most that I spent my early life wanting nothing more than to avoid manual labor. I know you remember how hard it was to get me to cut the grass or rake the weeds. You used to say, "Your day's coming," or "When the going gets tough, the tough get going." I can only assume now you were predicting this day when hard work would be required and I'd finally have to pony up the sweat equity to get things done. I look back on those days in Michigan fondly now and I chuckle about how much of a pain in the butt I was, especially as the first son you ever had to raise. You mentioned a while back you had some regrets, things you would have done differently. Dad, if I had the experience and knowledge I have today, I would have done a lot of things differently too. But hindsight also lets you choose what parts of the past to repeat. And so many of the good choices I've made have been directly influenced by the example you set. You were steadfast. It's a word I don't use lightly. You were faithful in marriage to Mom, always pursuing the faith you raised us in, and always willing to lend a hand to a neighbor. There was friction, sure, but I personally never saw you step off that narrow path. I choose to learn from your pattern and be steadfast in my life too. You were hardy. All those times you pushed yourself to the limit, building houses, repairing cars, mixing cement, shoveling snow, clearing timber, and like I'm doing now, chopping wood. And that's not even counting the stories I wasn't there for, like climbing canyons on cola alone, carrying bodies in the middle of the night, and military actions I don't even want to imagine. I choose to follow in your footsteps, to be someone others can rely on. You were honorable. I remember standing in the kitchen on McBride being told that a good reputation is built brick by brick, but it only takes one lie to tear it all down. I equate a good reputation with honor, and honor with honesty, kindness, empathy, and the value of a promise. That's the version of honor I learned from you. I choose to strive to be that kind of honorable man. You're a Christian. Now that word dredges up a lot for people, but I know it's a massive part of our life. You're probably saying, "It's not just a massive part, John, it's the whole thing." I know this because I can't have a conversation about historical contexts with you lately without you telling me it's not history, it's his story. And I'll be honest, that can be a lot to hear and repeat when I'm just trying to discuss the news. But in this, I also followed in your footsteps, even if my church's theology differs in parts from your own. When I was very young, you were a pastor. I remember opening my eyes as a baby, looking up past a rocking chair at the light coming through your office window. I remember watching you and Mom building sets for a puppet show, and I remember thinking that telling stories with puppets was the most fun thing ever. Looking back, I think I was seeing the passion and joy you both had for God. From my viewpoint, puppet shows were very cool. And those puppet show sets, the captain's beds you built, the log bookshelf with your theology books, and a myriad of other things, established a foundation for seeing how things work. You emphasized that building was better than buying, and that maintaining was better than discarding. I wasn't aware of it then, but those early days were a parallel to the faith you wanted to teach me. I think of you in the context of Joseph the carpenter. I don't know if Jesus taught the love your neighbor as yourself bit because he saw Joseph live it out in his work every day, but I'd like to think it influenced him. Life on McBride was weird, but it was fun. Seriously though, living an hour from church and being homeschooled wasn't exactly the best for learning social skills, but it was a fantastic childhood for learning that necessity is the mother of invention. And let's be real, you invent stuff. We always talked about inventors like Ford and Edison. And while you and I might see those men a little differently these days, the underlying lesson you taught me stuck. Finding a problem is 99% of the solution. So try to make something to solve a problem, rather than just sit back and hope others will do it for you. So thanks for all the time spent learning about septic systems, bike trailers, wiring houses, and tinkering on everything. I learned a lot from your projects. You and I both know I've done some regrettable things. I'll never forget the time you drove down to Florida. I know the embarrassment I caused, and I know the love you showed me. I can't repay that. It means more than you know. Remember the log house build not long after? How the walls were creeping in at the top? I spent hours sketching ideas trying to figure it out to help you. I even had a dream about an invention for a bottle jack contraption to solve it, but I didn't know how to communicate my idea to you in time. And I think it was around then that I realized my honor and reputation had been toppled in the previous year. It was going to take a long time to rebuild your trust in my ideas. You've done so many things since then that I wasn't around for. There's been a lot that I would have done differently if I had just asked for your help. Only in the past few years has what I learned from you really begun to sink in. Owning this ancient house, fixing it on a minimal budget, none of that would have been possible without the core lessons I learned from you. I think my day has come. Digging in to fix the neighbor's heat pump, repointing our foundation, or helping my neighbor dig out a sump pit, I know those actions are directly related to the worldview you helped establish. The going is getting tough, and I'm getting going. Thank you for the time you took to teach me. Thank you for the life you've lived that taught me how to live. And thank you for the faith you've held that showed me how to love. I love you, Dad, and I'm proud of you. Oh, and happy belated birthday. I was chopping this wood on the actual day, and it has taken me far too long to turn this into a video.